First, game on.
Rob Malarkey in the commentary box for this one. It is the number 8 seed, Peter Snakebite Wright, one of the form players this year, against Dyson Parody, one of the greatest players we've ever seen
100.
from Gibraltar, arguably the best.
Yeah, two of the European Tour's wallflowers on stage for this one. Peter Wright, the number 8 seed against Dyson Parody. I think this has
81.
the potential to be explosive in one way or another. But Parody, just going back to that victory over Gibraltar yesterday, 5-2 down, came back to win it 6-5.
140.
Nobody had better finishing stats than Parody yesterday. 6 out of 9, a day one best. 3 180s in the mix as well.
45.
And it was in response to a really good start by Decker. There was a 137 checkout from him early on, which suggested that he was settling the quicker of the two.
85.
Well, I don't know what darts these are Peter Wright's using. I don't think I've seen him use them before. I mean, that shouldn't surprise
41.
anybody. Dyson Parody has thrown 9 darts and scored 167. 57, sorry. No, 67. There we go. My maths did fail me. Whereas Peter Wright
21.
is on a potential 14-dart leg. Now, the finishing may have to be as good as yesterday for Dyson,
140.
but the scoring is going to be have to be a lot better.
Yeah, and he may also have to just draw on the memories of 3 years ago as Peter Wright takes out that 55 for a 14-darter.
Game on.
Drawing on those memories of 2016 when he made the quarterfinals, beating among others Jelle Klaassen and Max Hopp before losing 6-5 to MVG in the last 8.
Missing match darts against the world number 1, who's just illustrated how hard it is to get match darts against him.
70.
Peter Snake. I was expecting some sort of pun there, and it's just his name.
I'm just impressed. What did you read that with your finger going along each? Well, you need a ruler to go.
It was a
Peter Snakebite. Oh no, that's just his name.
Yeah. Well, it was. The font was unusual, and it was multicoloured. I mean,
140.
Can you read that? I'll give you a clue. It says exactly the same thing.
Snakebite.
But yeah, there we go.
Is that Peter Snakebite right
Yeah,
again?
that,
Wow.
yeah.
God.
Well
100.
done. Gold star for Malarkey.
Oh dear. I'm just still coming to terms with Jose de Sousa's
We all
encounter
are.
with Van Gogh.
140.
We all are. Well, Parody is absolutely loving a 5.
70. PD require 151.
You would think he'd have 6 darts from here.
May only need the 3.
137. Dyson require 146.
Sure that's the right thing to do, Peter?
Deflection, another one of those, and Peter Wright may
78.
have had his fingers burned.
PD require 14.
Well, that's the normal route if you're on 1-6-1, but he was on 1-5-1, so that's why he's left double 7. It doesn't matter anyway.
Peter Wright.
Peter Wright seemed to be on autopilot, but has
The leg,
autopiloted
Peter
his way to a
reverse.
2-0 lead with 107
Game on.
average, so it doesn't really matter. The best way to beat Dyson Parody is to just shut him up.
140.
He is at his best, a bit like the likes of Gerwyn Price, Kim Huybrechts, when he has that aggression, when he is shouting and bawling. But that only happens when he's starting to play
66.
well. He was kept very quiet by Gibraltar in the early stages, but as he came back into it, he got more effusive,
Yeah.
so much so that Kirk Bevins, the referee, had to have a word with him.
That's the flip side with Dyson Parody. Okay,
140.
make sure he doesn't get off to a flyer. Don't give him any encouragement. But by the same token, if you do start well, don't let him back into it, because it will arguably have a worse effect.
101.
What a great reaction that was.
45.
If somebody can just make that into a GIF for me at some point, that will get plenty of use.
You could actually just superimpose the words of Kenneth Williams on top of that as well.
85.
It would work quite well.
Well, Dyson Parody is approaching the stage where he's hit as many 5s as he has 20s, which is not good enough.
136.
Because Peter Wright has gone 14 darter, 14 darter. He's on a potential 13 darter here, and at this rate, Peter Wright is not only going to win this, he's going to win it with the highest average of the tournament. That's saying something, because Nathan Aspinall averaged 108 in the first game of the day.
Game shown the third leg, Peter Wright.
Yeah, maybe a little bit premature to be thinking about whitewashes. We've not had one this weekend, but we are on course for one here. We've had a cluster of 6-1 score lines today. Perhaps the unlikely one being Smith against Danny Noppert.
I don't know, when there's 30 points in the averages, I think 100. You can start thinking about whitewashers. But let's see, because Dyson Parody manages to stay straight, picks up a ton, and does give us a bit of a celebration.
Of course, the Gibraltar crowd do have another home hope to cling to later. David Francis up against Gerwyn Price, which should be a fairly sedate affair, I would have thought, late on as well.
Well, history does not support David Francis's claims to a spot in the final day, does it? Having played Gerwyn Price in his one other appearance in the Gibraltar Darts Trophy.
Yes.
And lost 6-0.
125.
Gerwyn Price was a qualifier as well for this tournament. But yeah, this is the first time that we've had two Gibraltarians involved in the second round
100
on the European Tour here on the Rock. Well, the deficit is 5, but you can add on these because Parody threw first.
Wants to stay there to try and leave 96.
81.
He's so frustrated. Thing is,
well, I mean,
he's not hit a 180 yet. He's having 2 great darts and 1 poor one, and he's still averaging about 110. Peter Wright.
155.
He's not very far away from doing something extraordinary in this game, Peter Wright.
You feel as though he wants to set the bar high here this weekend as well, Peter Wright. Get off to an absolute flyer.
90, Dyson, you require 141.
And he has started sluggishly on occasion this year on the European Tour, but he's certainly come good. He's made 1 final and
100.
4 semi-finals in Europe so far this season.
He requires 65.
And in his 2 recent semis in Vienna and Riesa, he was on the receiving end of a 7-6 scoreline, so he's been knocking on the door. Certainly knocking on the door here. 65 away, tops away from a 4-0 lead.
Game
and that's exactly what he's got.
Peter Wright.
And that was another 14 darter.
5th leg, Peter to throw first.
Over the last
game on.
What, pretty much since just before the match play when Peter Wright won 3 titles in a row, he hit this spell of form and has been using tops much more regularly, and is arguably right up there with the best double top hitters on the planet. It is so reliable for him. At the minute, he's 4 out of 5 on the doubles. The only loose darts he's tending to have is just one at the end of a scoring visit where it goes in the 1 or the 5. But this is turning into an absolute annihilation.
60.
Nicholson and I were just chatting about that quote from Mensur Suljovic earlier, when Suljovic, in the aftermath of his win against Ian White in that
100.
Pro Tour final, said Ian White, Daryl Gurney, Gerwyn Price and me are the best players at the moment. I think on the evidence of what Peter Wright has done since July the 1st, you'd have to consider him as well as being the in-form, or one of the in-form players.
140.
You could say 140 is not enough for Peter Wright. He's so frustrated he hasn't got a 180. He wants to have one of those perfect visits, whether it be a 180 or whether it be a 177, which is what he's going to look for here, or a 170 or a massive checkout. But certainly, I mean, Peter Wright going into the World Match Play looked the best player.
60.
At the World Match Play, he looked the best player. It took a heroic performance from Daryl Gurney to stop him at the World Match Play. But maybe since the match play, it hasn't quite been there. It was disappointing 45. On the World Series from him.
Did you require 141?
Maybe this is the perfect visit he's after. No, it isn't.
105.
But it's not far off. And it's the first leg that'll go into a 6th visit. But you don't anticipate it making a 7th visit.
No, and it won't make too much of a difference, I'd have thought, in the final reckoning, certainly as 36. Far as this leg is concerned, and certainly as far as the match is concerned. 100 points the deficit here. Double 18 for Peter Wright for a 5-0 scoreline.
18.
Well, hope here for Dyson Parody to get a leg on the board.
136.
A rare opportunity. If this goes, maybe a little reaction, but it's not going to go with a single 5 on the board.
The Dyson Parody and the 5
82.
segments. I mean, it's almost
18.
indecent the amount of time they're spending with each other. Double 8. Wright splits it and sticks one just outside.
2.
And 6 another just outside. And Dyson Parody is being given away into this game to avoid the whitewash.
And there he is.
On the 5th flag, Dyson Parody.
As if to say, where did that come from? Or maybe it's to say, how come it's taken me so long?
6th flag, Dyson to throw first.
Well, he has avoided the whitewash despite what the stats suggested not too long ago. Peter Wright will be really annoyed now.
105.
But it could be a 10-darter that just reasserts his authority in this one and just restamps his class. Stepping on the throat of Dyson Parody once again. And once again, that single 5 for Parody. The love affair
80.
continues.
Peter requires 36.
And even a treble 5 for good measure as well.
Switches over.
27.
4 out of 13 on the doubles.
Right, this game should be over. This game should be done and dusted, and Peter Wright should have won it 6-0 with 110 average. As it is,
Parody's in the 5s again, by the way.
92.
If this game was about hitting the 5 segment,
9.
Dyson Parody would be world #1 and a multiple world champion. He is absolutely mustard at it.
He's on the 6th flag.
Got there in the end.
Peter Wright.
4 out of 13 becomes 5 out of 14.
4 14 darters, a 13 darter.
Game on.
There you see it. And Peter Wright managed to miss a whole load of darts when it could have been another 5-visit leg. But it has just been far too much for Dyson Parody tonight. I'll tell you what, he's going to end this tournament with cracking finishing stats.
6 out of 9
58.
yesterday. Maximum returns so far,
70% for the weekend.
Can't argue with that, Dan.
Unfortunately, if you're 36 points behind in the first 9 average, you're not going to get that many opportunities, Dyson.
100.
Even if you do hoover them up. No real chance of hoover tonight, are there? Not much to shout about for the Parody fans.
45. 100.
Winner of this faces Mensur Suljevic, who was pretty convincing in his win over Vessel Nyman.
45.
Some Scottish fans in. Peter Wright giving them what they want. He's the only Scottish player in action today.
134.
Yeah, no Cameron Menzies this weekend. Missing him on the European tour.
Cameron Menzies missing a lot today in the Challenge Tour.
Yeah.
Peter require
Throws his
67.
arms to the heavens.
That might be the last thing he does in this tournament, Dyson Parody. Double 8. And another 14 darter gets the job done. Peter Wright, excellent in seeing off Parody. Averages a ton. It probably could have been a whitewash, maybe it should have been, but Wright will take on Suljevic for a spot in the quarterfinals.